The 2021 Philadelphia Eagles are the most intriguing team heading into this upcoming NFL season. Not because I think they're going to be a good team, mind you, but because of the interesting aspects and situations that are present within the organization as a whole. There's a lot of new faces, players, and expectations as to how this upcoming season is going to go. And there is a great opportunity for the Eagles to improve on what was a dreadful 2020 campaign. It was a complete disaster from the word go, as Carson Wentz proved to be a broken quarterback, Doug Pederson's horrendous play calling was on full display, and how Howie Roseman couldn't draft an elite skilled positions player if his life depended on it. Not to mention causing unwanted stress and anxiety with trying to bring in Deshaun Watson and giving this fan base a complete heart attack if that were to happen. And of course trying to disrupt an already somewhat stable locker room. I swear, it's like the guy almost plans for these things sometimes. 4, 11, and 1. A completely pathetic display. Now, I know that a lot of people would want to blame COVID for this mess happening, and to an extent, it does get part of the blame as to why the team performed as badly as it did last year. But I think this season was necessary because it exposed all the internal struggles of this organization in front of the entire world for everyone to see. There's no consistency, no team identity, no leadership, and no effort whatsoever. Watching this team play last year was like watching a lifeless zombie roam through the empty streets of Philadelphia. You just wanted to put the poor son of a bitch out of its misery. Things drastically need to change, and it looks like there are steps being taken, such as firing our Super Bowl winning head coach. Now, look, I like Doug, and I thank him tremendously for being the first coach to bring the Eagles its first ever Super Bowl, an accomplishment I, nor the fans, will ever forget. He also seems like a guy who has a solid relationship with his players, and has been known for making the most out of terrible situations, especially the late stretches the Eagles made back in 2018 and 2019 to make the playoffs despite all the injuries. The problem was his inability to change. His offense became stale and boring, and instead of high-paced and creative like it was during the Super Bowl run. He also had a terrible run-to-pass ratio that hindered any chance at success. Watching him constantly call play action every 2 or so plays was cringeworthy to watch, and also unnecessarily going for 2 instead of just taking the extra point. Like, I know Jake Elliott's been shaky over the past couple of years, but like, come on, that's gonna really hurt the guy's confidence by not getting him out there to at least attempt these field goals. I get that it's a passing league, but becoming so one-dimensional as an offense gets you exposed on this level. Just ask the Pittsburgh Steelers. Doug also just looked so burnt out. He did not have that energy he once did, and it showed on the field. I get that he wanted to make it work, but it more than likely would not have given the current state of the team at the time. I hope he finds success elsewhere, but it was definitely the right move to get rid of him as the head coach. It was time for the Eagles to change. Out with the old and in with the new. Now there's Nick Sirianni, a young offensive coordinator from Indianapolis that brings a highly energetic personality to his coaching. You can tell he truly does enjoy the game of football, especially when his mouth starts opening and he's saying words without his brain processing at times. Let's be honest, his first press conference as the head coach was, not good, to say the least.
We're gonna have systems in place
that you want.
He has since improved greatly when speaking to the ever-growing pain known as the Philly media, and focuses on his principles for winning football games. These include such revolutionary concepts such as connection and trust, competition, accountability, smart football, and of course, the ever-so-loved fundamentals. I don't doubt the connection and trust part since the team does enjoy playing with each other.
The fuck?
The other philosophies do sound a little cliche to say the least. I'm not 100% sold on the accountability part since it feels like this organization hasn't even come close to taking accountability in the past year. But time will tell if this new regime can pan out. I am seriously rooting for Nick to become a successful head coach, as this team's history has shown in the past that they are known for making the questionable out-of-nowhere hire, from Andy Reid to Doug Pederson to now Nick Sirianni. Usually after the first year or so, there has been a trend of success with coaches in the past few years, either through multiple winning seasons, a Super Bowl ring, or just overall improved quality of play. The Eagles are known for turning their franchise around for the better in quick time. Here's to hoping the same can be said for another first-time play caller who will hopefully have the drive and determination and confidence that can spark a real energy to this team. Speaking of high energy, Jonathan Ganon is another new piece added to this team. As the defensive coordinator, he brings a unique scheme to this defense that can really help out with the secondary play, a huge area that has plagued this team for years. Even when they won the Super Bowl, giving up over 500 yards and 3 touchdowns to Mr. Goat over here, Ganon looks to change that by mixing up the man and zone defense and making those adjustments on the fly. A far cry from the Jim Schwartz era that involved the corners playing 10 yards off the receiver every time and giving up easy corner or curl routes all the time in the name of not giving up anything deep, which is a stupid way to go about your defense, by the way. I am hoping Ganon also mixes it up with the blitzes he brings instead of just relying on a 4-man rush every play, in the hopes that the D-line can just get all the pressure themselves. Which, as good as this defensive line is on this team, they can't do all of that stuff. They need a 5th or 6th guy to help them out with taking down any opposing quarterback. Early signs of training camp have shown Ganon is a big believer of takeaways and stripping the ball at any means necessary. Howie Roseman mentioned once during an interview that this team does have hidden talent. It just wasn't on display last year. When you get a different coaching staff that can teach you new and better ways to do things, you do end up having more success as a team. It's a mix of your favorites on this team, such as Lane Johnson, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, but a lot of new and younger talent as well that should be exciting to see how they may pan out. The biggest contribution being the drafting of Devante Smith. After trading up with the devil himself with the team you hate the most, and only giving up a future 3rd-round pick for it, the Eagles addressed a huge need on offense. Despite his small stature, he's a guy I feel like can adapt well to the professional level. I was definitely excited, just like everyone else, because I knew he was a guy that could go up and make the big catches for his team. He's quick and well versatile who can play either the outside or the slot. It will be very interesting to see the Eagles move Devante Smith around in different ways and see how well he can adapt to situations. It felt like the Eagles finally got someone they needed after passing up on Justin Jefferson for Jalen Reagor. And look, I know people are low on Reagor right now, but let's give him a chance this year to see how well he can pan out. Last year, he had moments of being a quality wide receiver, so I'm not going to give up hope on him just yet. In my opinion, the offensive line is somewhat questionable, especially with some guys not getting any younger, like Lane Johnson or Jason Kelce. When healthy, this offensive line can be very dominant and control the line of scrimmage. Unfortunately, that has not been the case, especially with injuries last year to Brandon Brooks and Andre Dillard, the same guy who just lost his starting left tackle spot to Jordan Mailata. By the way, imagine being a 1st-round pick, training your whole life for football. You dedicated so many hours, made so many sacrifices, ended up being a 1st-round pick, and you lose your starting job to a guy who used to play rugby and only has about 3 years total of football experience in his entire life. I mean, I don't really know what to say other than, dude, you might want to think about retiring at that point. I mean, like, that's pretty bad. It also hasn't helped with drafting Landon Dickerson in the 2nd round, a guy who was projected to be a top 15 draft pick, but also sustained injuries during his career like a torn ACL and Achilles tear. Time will tell if he can manage to have a sustainable career, but previous signs have not been very encouraging. A big theme from this year's draft was Howie Roseman controlling the line of scrimmage, hence why he went typical Howie Roseman and drafted a bunch of defensive linemen like Milton Williams and Taron Jackson. It was what won them the Super Bowl, but you can't simply neglect the secondary on this team in my opinion. Here's to praying that guys like Zach McPherson and Jacoby Stevens can step up early on and be a huge impact, instead of course having to rely on Avonte Maddox and Darius Slay to help out. The Eagles did pick up a nice piece this offseason in Steven Nelson to help out, despite his less than average season last year. Of course, the biggest question on this team, however, has got to be Jalen Hurts. When Jalen Hurts was first drafted in the second round of the 2020 NFL Draft, it was met with a lot of mixed reviews and skepticism. We already had Carson Wentz at the time. Was Jalen coming in to replace Carson? As it turns out, yes, that was the case. Jalen now has the keys to the kingdom after Carson's woeful 2020 performance. In the 4 games that he started in, he wasn't the worst quarterback, but clearly wasn't the best. Although it is tough for anyone to adapt to that situation. I mean, he was just trying to win games. He wasn't trying to take over as league MVP, at least not yet. There were flashes of potential and also the usual rookie mistakes. I myself was not a fan of the pick when it first happened, but after further analysis, I can confirm that having a backup quarterback is vitally important to a team's success. Kinda like when the Eagles won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. I know, you're all sick and tired of hearing about it, but it is true. It shows that football is a team game, and having someone step into that role at any time can prove a team's durability and depth on its roster. Seriously, we also just picked up Gardner Minshew for a 6th round pick, and you already know what that means.
It's Minshew Mania, baby.
Jalen's story is not one to glance over either. A man who was benched at halftime during the national championship one year, only for Tua to be injured during the SEC championship the next year and have the roles be reversed. Jalen, of course, leading Alabama to a victory, having his redemption in college. He also furthered his legacy when he transferred to Oklahoma and proved to be a starter for any team. There's also been a trend lately of mobile quarterbacks in the NFL, such as with Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson, just to name a few. Guys who are mobile but can also throw the ball with power and accuracy. That's a trend the Eagles are trying to follow with Jalen Hurts. He's a guy who needs to show that he can hang amongst the NFL's elite, or spiral into mediocrity. Either way, he is Philadelphia's biggest hope, who better pull through instead of hoping to God that this team isn't led by Joe Flacco. Look, overall this team can actually be a dark horse contender this year. Stop laughing, I'm being serious. The only questions remain are the usual every year with staying healthy. Ever since the Super Bowl win, it's like this team has been cursed by the NovaCare complex. It's like someone sprinkled Satan's dust all over the practice field in an attempt to cause eternal pain for our sins of wanting just one freaking ring. It's like karma for nearly destroying the city when we did win a ring. I know I'm probably jinxing it, but there hasn't been any significant injuries other than Jason Kroom suffering a season-ending injury and the MCL scare with Devante Smith. But once again, if this team can, for the love of God, remain healthy, then they have the talent to at least contend with an emerging NFC East, which is also another interesting aspect of this whole process. The entire division has gotten better in one way or another. I don't think it'll be the meme division like it was last year, but it also won't be the best in the league either. The NFL is the league of parity, of course, and a lot can happen over the span of a few years where teams who were terrible all of a sudden got good again. The Giants have talent and improved in some areas, such as acquiring Kenny Golladay and Kyle Rudolph during the offseason. I'm not a firm believer in Daniel Jones yet, especially if he gets killed behind that offensive line. And their defense is still a little bit questionable at best, but with the Giants you never know. The Washington football team front seven is still scary, but there's been pretty much lack of a consistent offense. The Cowboys are the opposite. They have the high-powered offense and I don't even know if you can even call that a defense, to be honest. And although they have added a bunch of pieces to their defense during the draft, including an emerging Micah Parsons, but they are also depending on a bunch of rookies to try and help them out. It's once again a wide open division for the taking. Can the Eagles really learn and adapt to Nick Sirianni's style of coaching? Is Jalen Hurts going to be the answer? Can this team at least try to act like they want to win now instead of waiting for 2022 when the team's salary cap is supposed to get better? My honest opinion is yes and no. I think this is what makes the Eagles so fascinating this year. I saw something on Twitter that was really interesting. He compared this team to the 2016 team when Doug Pederson first started coaching. They weren't quite there yet as a team, but you could see the emerging talent that was showing up. There's really no pressure to win, but they also technically do have a shot. I know, it's crazy, right? I just want to see good and improved quality football, which I believe will be the case this year. It may not show on the record books, but they will be closer to being contenders this year. My ceiling for this team is 7-10. I'm just happy we will get to see football with people in the stands again. And of course, I am very excited for this new era of Eagles football. And again, I could be totally wrong. They could either be one of the best teams in football or go 0-16. They are a question mark team, but it's also a team that has an exciting future ahead of it. And they better not screw this up. I mean, seriously, it's not like the season itself is going to be ruined by the ongoing worldwide pandemic, am I right? Oh yeah, I forgot there's a Delta variant. Oh god, we are so screwed. But yes, folks, thank you guys so much for watching. Do you think the 2021 Philadelphia Eagles are going to be a good team this year? Let me know down below in the comments. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. I might even live stream some of these games to check out my reactions to the Eagles game. Those will be a lot of fun, so I would highly encourage you guys come hang out with the live stream. And those are my 2 cents on the Eagles, so just in case anyone was wondering. So there you go. Seriously, I can't wait for football. It's finally back. Oh my god, it's been so long. Last year just did not feel right, and this year is going to be hopefully a lot better in terms of football play. So really can't wait for that, and let's get to it. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.